EK, maybe I'll just ask you, I mean, you've also been in the, you're in charge of the clinician scientist residency or, the committee and so forth. What are your thoughts? I mean, what do we need to do in this campus and maybe broader in Singapore to encourage, young doctors who, as Karl said, we all want to be doctors when we are in medical school. How do we are we able to get some of them to say, maybe I should do this career and there's some satisfaction there?
Yeah, I think before we start, before I start, I'd like to say that for those of you who are interested in applying for clinician scientist residency or research fellow scholarship at MOH, and all the some of the other organizations, here you are, you have heard model answers, from some of these stars here. Do bear in mind, of course, take it, some of this just adopt as, that what suits you. Now, coming to the issue of how best we can build up this clinician scientist structure, training more clinician scientists, I think for those of us who are in the system for a number of years now, we will appreciate that Singapore is trying to short circuit the whole process, as you know, all right? And it takes time. So a lot of people do not understand that within our medical system right now, we have actually lost, in fact, we lost generations of doctors. Brilliant doctors, academic ones, who should be here today, or even in this platform, but they are doing their private practice outside. All right, we all know that. All right. So the issue of where do you going to find good mentors? This is a very, very difficult question. So perhaps 20, 30 years down the road, some of you all, succeeded within the system, become mentors yourself. You got more to share. But building from what we have achieved so far, I must say that within this cluster we've done extremely well. All right, it took a long time. For those of you who remember that maybe 10 years ago, where we have sessions like this, where we have medical directors, scientific directors trying to drive research, and we have awards that's been given over the years. I think that the common frustrations among the younger people has always been that there's no recognition, there's no provision for protected time. So these are the questions that we heard again and again. I think at the cluster level, also at the national level, I think we have already tried to address this in terms of compensation, promotion, and of course, issue with protected time. Cluster-wide, introduce local clinician scientist scheme. Of course, national, right now, you can compete for them. So I think that things are falling into place. It's just that for some, you might find that you're impatient because we have, particularly some of our postgrad medical school, for example, Duke, they come to us, they want everything to be, perfect, which means that, they want to join the residency, they want, how much of protected time that to them is important, and they want to continue publishing. So sometimes in this eagerness, we lose a little bit of track of, what we've been doing. So I would say that we are on good track. Now, whether what we can do better in what areas, I would say that the leaders, which means that, one of the issues here is that a lot of clinical departments are led by so-called clinicians who have, sorry to say this, some of them may not have that much exposure to research or academic work, so may not be able to appreciate what, what some of the clinician researchers or clinician scientists have been trying to do. So as you can see that over the years, in fact, this is already happening now. You can see that, the leaders are going to be, or rather the leadership position is going to be taken over by people who are much more academic. And they will be able to share vision with you. So you come to a head of department and you complain about A to Z, at least, people who have gone through that, sour period, that pain, they will be able to understand and appreciate you. And perhaps in a better position to help, at least, solve some of your needs. So.
Mike, you've gone through all these things, very supportive heads all your life, essentially. So what are your thoughts?
I'll be creative about that and duck around that. But I want to start by saying, recalling a couple of things I heard from Ed Catmull, who gave this year's one of the plenary talks at Society for Neuroscience. He is, for those of you who don't know, he was a leader in Pixar that made Toy Story, and also now he's, I think he's a leader at Disney. And he spoke about Steve Jobs and Apple, and we all know about the iPhone and how that's totally transformed our lives. And he said that the talk was about creativity, a critical characteristic necessary for success as a clinician scientist. And he said that all the world is about the administrators and leaders. They want creativity because it's disruptive and it generates value, and it really profits the people who are able to harness it. And everyone is looking for the magic bullet to try to make the process of creativity easier. But he shared, and it was very humbling, that this very, very creative person was saying that the top producers and people who think up of these shows, they struggle through the process. They say it's like even these brilliant people feel as though they're going into a tunnel, and they don't often know what the end result is. They work through it. They work together through it. So I resonate with what Karl said. It's you have to be clever and smart and resourceful and passionate, but you also need to have a good team. And he mentioned one of the good things is that it's important to be allied with people who are like-minded, who are willing to break down difficult problems and solve them. But he ended with one thing which I'll always remember. I want to share with you. He said, the end. Steve at the end, Steve Jobs was a very good listener. He paid attention to what could be changed, and he was. He made the changes necessary to make great products. But the last thing that he said was very interesting. He said that the goal of the process, the final goal of the process, is not to make creativity easier. It is to achieve excellence. And we all face difficulties, all of us. But if you are focused on that, if you ally with people who are focused on the end goal, who can take you to places where you cannot believe you can be taken to, I think that will help you transcend all the obstacles you will face, and there will be many if you take this career track. But the challenges are also, when you overcome the challenges, it's exhilarating, and it is something that really drives us, keeps us going. And when you see the difference you can make in people's lives, that is something no one can take away from you.